Yo, what's good, everybody? Chad coming at you with another raid video. We're gonna get into the Christmas giveaway information a little bit later on towards the end of this video. But we're gonna get into Mr. Bommel. Try to get a little bit funny with the new name, what I'd like to call him. But yeah, the big shout out to YST for coming up with this. I will give a link down in the description for his video. Man, just amazing. I was working on a couple alternatives to try to get myself past this. And as you can see here, we got a victory. We did have a little bit of time. You can see the turns here, some of the information, just throwing in random meat. You see some things in here that are kind of high base, but really, we'll get into some more information in a little bit. But I really don't like to jump on anybody else's information, and throw in some secondary stuff. Um, but I find myself trying to find applicable information for um, beginners to mid game or lower mid game, depending on where you're at and what you consider yourself. Um, so there's a lot of information out there for Doom Tower Hard. There's a lot of information out there for in game. And I find it hard to take information that's available and really apply it sometimes. So, I really wanted to make this video and kind of, bring it down to a level that's applicable to more players out there in the raid community who may not be at that hard level, who are not quite there yet. Now, I do have, quite a plethora of champions, but my gear is just not there yet. My collection of champions is ever increasing, growing, and right now is a great time to be hitting dragon, getting my speeds up, and trust me, I am doing that. But thanks to YST again, big shout out, and check that link below if you are not in normal right now, and you need some help with bad, Mr. Bommel there. Hit that for that more advanced information to get a little cheese. All right. So yeah, let's get into it, and then towards the end we'll get into some of the information about the particular champion in question here, Cornelia. So important parts of the selection here, and we'll look at it with the team setup in particular. So what I went with here is someone to have a good speed aura. Doesn't have to be Lady Kimmy. I know she's a hard champion to get, but anyone with a good speed aura, whether it's speed all or for Doom Tower specifically, throwing a good speed aura up there is kind of important. All battles is perfectly fine as well. As far as everybody else is concerned, just someone or individuals that's going to assist you in getting through waves. And the key is not to put anybody that's going to really last. You don't want anybody that's going to last. Very, very important with that aspect. And then when it comes to Cornelia, again, you're going to see these stats, but we'll get into more of that information towards the end. This is what I did with the setup. This is the most important ability here, the A3. I went ahead and turned off the A2. I will use it, as you will see when we get into the video. And then your A1, just leaving it the same. All right, we got it selected. Let's go ahead and get into it. Again, you saw the end results, but we'll go through it one by one. It should start off in auto. and auto's going, it's going to be perfectly fine. You can, I always start off in auto. You can let some of these abilities go through. So having that A3 set to go auto is perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. Again, you can kind of let this continue to go through auto on the first round if you like. You can bring it down before you go too far, get some of these buffs to kind of fall off. At this point, it really doesn't matter. But the key is for all of these champions to really die off in wave 2. If they end up lasting, once you get into the boss, that's perfectly fine. But really, the preference here is to get them to die off. Wave 2 or round 2 here is can get a little bit interesting, but with the setup and the abilities that you have here with Cornelia, really it's not too much of a stressor. You should be perfectly fine. Some of these debuffs for these champions here can get interesting. Again, it doesn't take too much to get some of these lower supports. I don't have a whole bunch of stuff built on any of these champions. That's why it's kind of easy for them to fall off. Kimmy's a little bit of a different story. I do use her quite a bit. She is kind of built up a little bit, but she has no books whatsoever. So again, for Kimmy, I'm just looking to get a little bit of extra speed. When I say a little bit, obviously Kimmy is one of the best speed auras for Doom Tower. With that being said, the speeds you're going to see when we get into the run are not too much of an issue. And really, it's just about getting Cornelia here into the boss, preferably by herself, and you'll be perfectly all right. Perfectly all right. Again, if you end up, getting a champion in here, or two, they will get killed off rather quickly as long as you didn't go too ham and put some real beefy killers in here. You should be perfectly fine. Okay, so once you get in here to Bab, as I like to call him, the best thing to do here is hitting the A1 once. Okay, and at this point, auto it up. There's quite a few different ways to go about getting through. Well, I can't say quite a few. There are a couple ways to get through. YST has put through a couple of videos now on good ways to get through Bommal. Huge shout outs to him. I probably will say it a couple more times. Again, I don't like really getting into and kind of like duplicating videos, jumping on other people's videos. But I do think that there's a lot of folks out there playing this game that are stuck on non-in-game levels, non-hard Doom Towers. There are people that are not in-game. And I think it's important to also provide some information to people out there so that they can get to your level of in-game to progress, man. Progression in this game can be extremely hard. So again, what you guys are seeing here is basically Cornelia's main ability, her A3, is putting herself to sleep, and then once she is attacked, she is fully healing herself, and we'll get into the ability and the details once the the turn is kind of over here, and we get through Mr. Bommel um, on how this works. And it's not a crazy setup, folks. It's not a crazy setup. It is not going to be that hard to get knocked out. And if you're lucky enough to have Cornelia, taking advantage of your next training event, taking advantage of your next artifact enhancement event, and upgrading, or if you are just absolutely sick and tired of being stuck on Mr. Bad, um, you know, taking one for the team and getting a little bit of stats, and I mean just a little bit of stats on her, and jumping in and knocking this out. I've probably been stuck on this and working through a few different methods before getting the notifications with YST. I am subscribed, do have my noties turned on. Yeah, just doing what I can and fighting my maxed out champs, um, some of the best in the game. I mean, trying to get cleansers in here, high attack, I've went with all my freezers to try to get freezes on the bombs, spreads, and everything. I do not have the most like epic of epic accounts when it comes to champions. I don't have Lydia or anything like that. So, getting, the setups that everybody else has when it comes to the full squads, just don't have it. But again, trying to find a method to get past your breaking points, your standing points, the points where you are just stuck. Um, don't feel like you can get a little bit of information, you immediately see it, and you're like, I don't have that. I don't have that. 6-star gear with every substat because it's legendary, and I did not quad roll the speed, so there's no way that I'm going to get it. Take the information that you have and adapt it for where you're at in the game. And if you're not there yet, just keep working on it. Do a little bit at a time. If you're free to play, do what you can, with the time that you have, and do it smartly. Upgrade during events. Upgrade Cornelia and rank her up during champion training events. Only do her gear when there's artifact events. So things like that. Just play smarter. If you're in that position. If you're a whale, this video is probably just someone else to laugh at, so it is what it is. But yeah, so at this point, we'll just probably get to a point where we'll fast forward, and we'll get through the part where I'm not talking anymore. We'll get through this, and we'll come back once the battle's over. All right, so we're nearing the end of our run here. As you can see, it's a little bit of a grind. You know, we're pushing the 25-minute mark. We might go over it a little bit, maybe under it. But you know, it's okay. It's an AFK grind because, you know, we're full auto, which doesn't make it as bad as some alternate versions. You know, nothing's worse than having to go in and click the A1, A2, A3, A1, A2, A3, A1, A3, A1, A3, A2, A3, A1. It's just, you know, going full auto, doing a little bit of AFK. You know, folks are doing worse than this. You know, trying to go, you know, one key, let alone the two keys on the Demon Lord. So again, I just hit the best time. Actually, no, a little bit longer than the best time here. So, uh, you know, she was looking like a little shorter version of Rotos there, man. That health meter just went psychotically long, which is extremely interesting. Starting off, it was a little bit close, but again, getting the job done and trying to get uh, the the more on the edge stats, but getting it done stats. Now, of course, you saw that, you know, when we started off the video, you saw the reward. You saw a back to back because we went right into a silver key fight. We are now back to back wins. Now, that means that I don't have this supremely tested with 10 or more runs, 100 or more runs. But we didn't get extremely low with the health. It did not seem like we put ourselves in a lot of danger. She did start off by herself in the boss run, so that's important to keep in mind. And she did start off with full health by herself, hitting with the A1 first, and then going full auto. She's going to immediately put herself to sleep. As long as she is not waking herself up, she's getting hit. She's going to wake up being hit with a full health bar and a full turn meter, hitting that cycle over and over again. So let's get into the champions here. And we'll show you the kit, and hopefully you guys are extremely surprised by the total stats. So total stats here: 53k HP, 1238 on the attack, 3100 on the defense, 176 on the speed. 176 on the speed. I mean, you're talking nothing. Now, again, remember my speed lead is plus 30. So you got to look at 206 depending on who you have available as a speed lead there. So consider that. Critical rate has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on. Critical damage, maybe a little bit when that critical rate's being procced. Attack does have something to do with it because that means your time is going to be shorter or longer when that A1 procs and hits because it's a 1-for-1. You're procking the A1, you're putting yourself to sleep and healing. You're procking the A1, you're putting yourself to sleep. So the more attack, the faster you can make it go. But the most important stat, of course, is your health. Your backup stat is your defense. Speed is ultimately tied into everything. But this is playable. As you can see, we got nowhere close to jumping, being jumped over or jumping over in turns. Because the A3, when it procs and you're hit, you're automatically filling your turn meter. So I don't believe the speed is too much of an effect here. But there's a lot of adjustments that can be done once you're hitting the 53k HP, of course, on Doom Tower normal, 90 floor 90 Doom Tower normal, which means if you're starting at 50, if you're at 50 right now, you can reduce this even more. I can go back in and show you the team that I went with a full team for 450. but it's going to be a little bit better of a team. So again, this is the most important stat. This is a second backup stat. This I think has a complete gigantic play. I think you can completely play with this because of that A3 automatically proccing a full turn meter. I don't think this has really a huge play whatsoever, as long as you can get through the first two waves, get in there by yourself. As soon as you're hitting the A1, as long as you're not like a negative turn ratio where the boss is going twice before you go, I think if my logic is correct, speed really is not going to have very much play whatsoever because of your A3's ability. Now, that does mean that your skills are going to have to be maxed when it comes to your A3. So books will be important because you will need those cooldowns. And I'll show you that here in a sec. Resist, really not too much of a play. She is opposite affinity, and she is not applying a buff. So she's not getting an extra bomb put on her. She's applying a debuff to herself. So she's not proccing an extra bomb on herself. She's just getting a random bomb as a part of the percentage from Bommel himself. The resist has absolutely no play. The accuracy on herself, I believe, has no play whatsoever in this at all. So again, very, very achievable stats. Very achievable. Now, it is also important that you have these two sets. The regen set and the immortal set is very important because you need to be healing yourself after you're getting hit. If you're not healing yourself after your initial turns, then you're not going to be proccing that higher max HP, and you could be getting yourself in trouble with the bombs that are being placed by Bommel on top of the bomb explosions. When those are randomly being combined with an HP burn, if you are not placing these two sets on at the same time, you're putting yourself in an extreme amount of danger. Nothing hurts more. Again, AFK, you could probably just set the sucker on auto and be perfectly fine, just getting it beat 1 out of 10 times. Maybe you have a 10% chance if you don't have one of these sets. Never hurts trying it if you are supremely lacking in gear. But I would highly advise just putting these on. You saw, I went 2 for 2. No worries there. You're not seeing a high max here, folks. You're not seeing a high max here. You saw there's a couple bugs going on. Some of those bombs did not disappear. They're little health meters, so something's going on right now. I really need to close my game and finish this video up. But again, the better the attack, the faster you're going to get Bommel knocked out. Didn't even get a speed roll on this one. HP was the more proficient move there, so I was perfectly fine with it. 4-star at level 16, no big deal. Again, got a 2 speed roll on this one. Don't think speed has too much of a play in this. Again, you want to get over that minimum speed so you're not going under two runs for Bommel before you get a run. You definitely don't want that to happen. Shield, nothing crazy. I went with defense on the gauntlets and then 2 healths. Actually, I went 2 defenses and 1 health, which is crazy because I thought I went 2 healths. But it's all about the sets and her abilities to get like a Rotos kind of expansion on her health, which just turns crazy. I would almost recommend going with 2 health sets and 1 defense. But yeah, it looks like I went a little crazier than what I even thought I did. And then health, defense, and health. And as you can see, we went 16, 16, 16. I mainly went 16 here because it was a 6-star. It was my highest level defense percentage. So I definitely wanted to try to max that out first and foremost. This was my highest highest health, because obviously you're going to get attack and defense here. So I wanted to max my health out here. So that's why I went there. And again, health. So definitely wanted to max out a health percentage there. If you went health here, you're probably going to be sitting better than what I was. So again, those are the total stats. Let's take a look at the masteries here. My masteries are going to be a lot different than the other video that I will put down in the comments below or in the description below. So I went a completely different way. I went here to get the extra boosts because I'm going with 2 set bonuses. I definitely wanted to get some extra base stats with those. And then decreasing the target's turn meter. I thought that would play a little bit more because of my shorter speeds. But again, I don't think as much. So you could even play with these a little bit, or even not go with them at all. You might be perfectly fine not even having max scrolls and being perfectly fine. But I would highly advise at least getting your extra health, at least getting your increased heals on yourself, and again, increasing turn meter, not so bad. Crit rate, again, maybe I was proccing every once in a while. Maybe extra critical damage was proccing every once in a while. This is going to help you get done. Obviously, we're full health every time that we're hitting, because we're getting that full health every time that we're getting a full turn meter and full health. And we're going right into a hit, so that's going to help a little bit. 5% on top of the attack. I did put on Life Drinker because I was a little bit worried with the HP. We were a little bit close there starting, but I still think we had a little bit of wiggle room, and not too worried about it whatsoever. Whirlwind of Death, I did get a couple of kills, but again, I don't think speed is very much of an issue as long as you're not negative. We did go all the way down, but you're only, when we're talking in the offense tree here, all we're talking about is how much faster you're going to get done with Bommel. Not whether or not you're going to get through him. It's how much faster you're going to get through him. So remember that. How much faster. Once you get to this stage, to bring it down and below, that's how much faster you're going to get through Bommel. So keep that in mind if you're a lower player and you don't want to get max scrolls. Just get enough to get, Life Drinker if you're a little bit lower on your health. Okay? Get enough to get your extra health and to get this extra value of heals when you apply your heals to yourself. You can even go with extra attack instead of the extra crit. Probably a smarter play for myself. Extra attack, extra damage, full HP, and then Life Drinker, and then just end it there, and should be perfectly fine. Skills, very, very important. Bigger disclaimer again, because we're talking about lower end players. This one is going to be very important because you need this on a 2-turn cooldown, which means you have to hit 2 books. The one very, very good thing about Cornelia is she's epic and she does not require a lot of books for everything else. The A2 takes a lot of books. I just completely booked her out. I did this previous to even trying to set her up for this video to try to help out for my faction wars. So I already had her booked out. But let's just hope if you don't have her booked out that you get lucky and the A3s proc 2 times in a row and you're good. Either that or you get lucky with your shard pulls and you have a couple extras and your faction guardians aren't sitting too bad when it comes to your epics. However you want to play it, but this is going to probably be one of the more important things that you do is that 2-turn 2-turn cooldown, and getting these booked. Because if you have that on a 4-turn cooldown, this will probably never work. So again, not one to piggyback on a lot of other people's videos, but yeah, had to lower this down to try to help out folks, because definitely saw his video, and almost just completely gave up, and almost got to the point where I'm like, I'm not gonna get past Bab. And I'm gonna have to just keep working. Maybe after I get through crushing Dragon in the next couple of days, I'll have enough speed gear where I can hit other people's stats. But huge shout out to him for providing this information, because without that, I wouldn't have said, hey, let's go for a shot and let's work up some minimum stats and see where we can go. And I was completely surprised that I was able to get this at around 50k HP, and such slow speed stats on even normal on floor 90. And yeah, supremely impressive when it comes to what she is able to do. And yeah, crazy that her health meter was so Rotos like. So yeah, not to forget the most important part, I guess, for most folks, is the giveaway. So I do a lot of giveaways. I'm kind of newer on the scene when it comes to doing videos for Raid. But yeah, try to do giveaways as often as possible. So gift cards, Cash App, Venmo, things like that. So yeah, for those who are interested in taking part of the Christmas giveaway, go ahead and like the video, and put a comment below. Whatever you want to comment about. A good topic would be the favorite family tradition for Christmas. So tell me what you and your family do for Christmas, if you guys have traditions. If you don't have traditions, say my family tradition is no traditions at all, which is pretty much mine. But yeah, do that. And the best thing to do is to subscribe and turn notifications on. That way you see all the videos that we provide giveaways on in the future. And then I will pick a winner or two, and I will place a comment and let you know who wins. And we'll need you to reach back out to me in some way to confirm, so I can find out a way to get you your winnings. So yeah, make sure to comment below if you want to enter, and like the video. And I appreciate everybody coming through, checking this video out. If you guys have any ideas of things that you'd like for me to provide, let me know as well. And yeah, I guess until next time, folks, we will catch you then. Peace.